Hi Sam,
Hello,
how are
Sam.
you?
Good.
Welcome to Watch Your Story, a podcast series by Sashakt, the Entrepreneurship Committee of DMS IIT Delhi. Today we have an incredible special guest, someone whose journey is nothing short of legendary and whose insights are eagerly awaited by our followers. A serial entrepreneur, a early stage investor, and a visionary leader. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Mr. Sam Baisla.
Sam, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here with us today. Thank you for taking your time to join us.
The pleasure is all mine, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm excited.
So Sam, your story is an epitome of resilience and inspiration. So could you just take us back to the transformative conversation you had at the age of 18 and how it set the stage for everything that followed afterwards?
At the age of 18, it was a very different world back then, man. There was a time wherein internet was not there. We did not have smartphones. We did not have even computer. So I was raised in a village, and
Okay.
there our school was 3 kilometers from our house, so we had to walk to our school. I come from a government school, and I was the first person in my entire relations, like my uncles and aunts and everybody in my family also, who had completed 10th standard. I forget about the graduation and everything. So that was a very different thing. And I came to Delhi. I mean, I was raised with my maternal uncles earlier. I was born in Delhi. My parents are in Delhi. So I came to Delhi in 98 after completing 10th. So when I got the admission and I took a science stream, I wanted to be in IIT. In fact, I've been speaking about this for a very long time that I was good at studies.
It's
So
8:30.
I got admitted myself into science stream, 11th and 12th in a government school here in Delhi. But the problem was that I could not understand anything that the teacher was saying or talking about. You know, it was all in English, and I was from Hindi medium, and that too from a village. So the teachers were explaining the area of rectangle is equal to length into breadth, and I would not understand anything of it. And the teacher would try again and again, and then obviously the teacher would get frustrated. And then every time I would just say in my local 𝗕𝗵𝘁 𝗕𝗁 language that I am not able to understand it. By the third time, all the class, all the students would look at me as if I'm some kind of alien or what. So from being a topper in my school in the village to in a situation wherein I was not able to understand anything, and obviously I was not able to communicate with other students, so I did not make any friends, and obviously I did not have any friends here also in the village in Delhi because I was not here for almost 15 years. So it was a very lonely kind of time and very depressing, in fact. Uh, there was a time I wanted to quit and go back to the village because nobody could teach me. Then something happened. There was some revelation that happened with me. It's a long story, in fact. But I won a speech competition in the 9th standard there in the village. And I was gifted a dictionary. And the child I was thinking that why this guy is giving me this huge book? What would I do with this book? I'm already buried in a lot of books. But this guy, when he was gifting me this dictionary, he told me that this you will find useful when nothing will come to your aid. And obviously, I did not understand that. So I was going through 11th standard, at least 2, 3 months, and nothing was going right in my way. I was pretty depressed, kind of. In one fine day, I found this book in my almirah. I found this, I opened it up, and I started a book. It was Vajpayee and Vajpayee Physics, Chapter 6, Laws of Motion, 11th Standard CBSE. And I still remember it. It was 1998. I opened the book. The first definition is of force, and I started reading that. The first word is force, so I underlined that, and then I flipped the pages of dictionary and found out what this word means. And then in dictionary it says bal. and then is, what is, and push and pull, and then I translated the entire definition of force. And it took me about 15, 17 minutes. But the moment I completed the translation of that English definition of force into Hindi, I realized that force is that push or pull which changes or tends to change the disposition of a body, which I never understood, is एक्चुअली बल व धक्का या खिंचाव है जो किसी वस्तु की परिस्थिति बदलता है, बदलने की चेष्टा करता है. And that was a kind of eureka moment. Holy shit, I know it. I've read it already, because the 11th 12th standard is almost equal into 9th 10th standard of all the boards. And then this is the time I realized, okay, it is not that I've all of a sudden have become dumb. It is not that all of a sudden my brain stopped working, or this syllabus that they're teaching is extremely complicated or something. It's just that I'm not able to understand English. I'm not able to read and understand questions or anything else. And when you understand the problem, then it is easy to solve. Then I just realized, okay, this is the only thing that I got to do. I don't have friends, I don't have anything else. So just kept on translating, kept on reading. And in about 3 months, I translated most of the definitions. And I had about 400 words that I translated from English to Hindi. And the spoken or written communication English revolves mostly around those words only. Long story short, as you know, I can speak very well English. I, in my career, have been working with Americans and Europeans, and I've been a trainer also. I've trained Americans and Europeans in communication skills in business ethics, conflict management, and sales, and everything else. So from that moment to this one, that is, I think, the most important thing. And what lessons I can give to myself and everybody else also, that if you do not quit and keep trying anything, right? A small step, whatever. If you keep asking yourself a question that, what more can I do? And that question of more, what more can I do, basically changes everything.
Exactly.
And that is the learning that I've been carrying from that day onwards, and I apply that everywhere wherever I go. And that, I think, has been one of the key factors of me being able to achieve what I have achieved so far in my life.
That's a really inspiring story, Sam. And I think we have also like learned the lesson right now that do not quit. And I think this also resonates with the journey of starting a startup, the same learning. So, like, how did all these adversities that you have faced in early on in your life shape your business ventures and maybe your leadership style? Or like, how did they inspire you to overcome all the challenges while starting the company?
A lot of people say that I became successful in spite of the challenges and hardships. I would like to think that I became successful because of the challenges and hardships. You see, what happens when you are thrown into the dirt is that you have to crawl, right? And when you have to crawl, what happens is that you start building those muscles. You start building those physical muscles, you start building those mental muscles. It's like training, going into the gym. The only growth that happens is when you move out of the comfort zone. Unless you're not feeling uncomfortable, unless you're not sweating, nothing is growing, by the way. You're just doing something. And you're not actually growing, you're not building any strength. And that training of your mind, of your body, actually helps you when you actually face bigger challenges in life, which need a lot of mental strength, a lot of tenacity, a lot of physical strength to solve. Uh, that's one thing. So since I was raised in a village, I had to work in field a lot, and I was alone, of course. So I did not have any friends or something. So when you are alone and don't have friends, you start building a relationship with yourself, and that's a very unique kind of relationship that you build, because you are pondering over your thoughts, you're thinking about your thoughts, and then you're finding solace in books and inspirational stuff. And that is the kind of solo, independent thought, or asking yourself and challenging yourself and imagining. Those are some of the things that build. So those hardships, as you call, or a lot of people call, actually were the preparation of the life, the larger life that I'm now able to live, and I'm going to live further in my life. This is now has gone to a kind of a DNA level, and I would like to take that as a training. And I was speaking at a college, and I keep talking. I mean, I've been to your institution many times now. I've worked with a lot of people from your college.
Mhm.
It's like 5, 7 times at least. Uh, and I talk about this very, very often. That at times when things go wrong with you, you start thinking that why God is doing this to me. You start feeling bad about yourself
Exactly.
because apparently those things are not because of your fault. I mean, you
Mhm.
happen to born to a parent who are not educated. You happen to have some kind of physical problems. You happen to have an accident maybe in your family. Those are the things that are not your doing. This happened to you, and you go in a situation or in a mindset wherein you think that why God is being cruel to me? Why am I being punished? I didn't do anything for this. I didn't deserve this. I deserved better. And in that moment of depression, you tend to quit. You tend to move in a downward spiral. I would
Yeah.
like to tell people and young people like at your age that whenever those things happen to you, think that they are not happening to you, they are happening for you. And there is a difference in the way you frame that sentence. They're happening for you because God, creation, Almighty, whatever you want to call that, is preparing you for something bigger and better. And
Mhm.
when that bigger and better thing comes to you, you'll not be able to hold it or handle it with your weak hands at the moment and with your weak mind at the moment. So that hardship is not a punishment for something, it's a preparation for something larger and something bigger. And obviously, you cannot see that at the moment. And at times, it may be, and it is, very contradictory to what you're asking for. You have a plan and you're going in that direction and you are so desperately working for that, but then you try a lot, but the plan doesn't come through. You fail and you are punished, and you're thinking, I want this thing with all of my heart, and why am I not getting it? Because you don't deserve this, you deserve something bigger and better. Your destiny is something else, and God knows it. You don't. So stop fighting with the destiny. Accept that, okay,
Mhm.
maybe this is happening for me. Accept it, embrace it, and then move into the journey. How do you see that path? My philosophy has been that walk as far as you can see, and when you get there, you can see further. The whole journey you can never see. You can only see some part of it, and that's what you should do. You should not stand quick, quiet and still. Just keep moving in that direction. And it's always the case that when you move a little further, you're able to see further. And when you are able to see further, then you can move a little bit further. And with that further, then you're able to see further. So it's a kind of a long journey dissected into small, small sprints. Over a period of time, in 15 years, 20 years, 10 years, when you look back, it will be a hell of a journey and you'll be very, very proud of yourself. So the key understanding here is to having faith in what is happening to you, with you, for you. Uh, it is only looking backwards that you'll be able to connect those dots. And that's why
Mhm.
it is very important that you have to have faith in whatever is happening right now. There is some reason behind it. The only two questions, however, that people should ask, and I'm not a person who says that, okay, just don't do it, anything, let it be. No, I'm a firm believer in karma yoga. I'm a karma yogi. I work, I believe that I need to make actions. But then there are two things that you ask, two questions, very, very simple. Prepare your mind for the worst case scenario so that you're not think creating problems. I used to call that term think create a problem which is not there, but you think to create it. It is
Mhm.
created in your mind. Uh, to break that, ask yourself the question, what is the worst case that can happen? And the worst that can happen is that you die. Because death is the final verdict. Before that, everything can be reversed, everything can be changed, irrespective of what it is. So I prepare my mind for the worst, that okay, fine, what will happen? I'll lose a job, fine, then what will I do? I'll try to find another job. Okay, what if I don't get a job? I'll try another job. Okay, what if I don't get a salary? Good, I'll settle for a less salary. Things like that. I'll still be alive and I'll be in the game. So what happens when you prepare your mind for the worst? You're not feeling the pressure. You're not anxious. You're like now positive and happy. And then ask another question to yourself, which is, what can I do now? Not tomorrow, not 3 months later, now. And right now, what can you do is the only thing that is in your control. And when you take that step, some magical things start happening. You start feeling progress and motivation. Now, scientifically, people think that you have to feel motivated, then you will take action. That is incorrect. Scientifically, it is proven that when you taking action, you feel motivated. Because the mind gets into an illusion of progress. And with progress, mind gets into an illusion of hope. So what you have to do in order to feel motivated and inspired is to take that damn action. And it can be very, very small. It can be picking up that book, writing that essay, writing that email, writing that message to somebody, and it is applied in relationships also. The moment you take that first step, your mind will tell you, okay, you're moving. And when the mind tells you you're moving, mind will say, now there is a hope. And hope translates into motivation, and motivation translates into further action. And then it becomes a kind of momentum in that direction. So these are two things that you should do. Ask yourself a question that what worst can happen. And then second, ask yourself a question, what I can do now. Now is in capital letters, please remember. That's what are some of the wisdoms that I've learned in my life.
That's absolutely admiring, sir. So now speaking of ventures, from 𝗬𝙗𝗫 LLC to brand samosa, your businesses span a variety of domains. So what has been the constant driving force behind these initiatives?
My businesses are basically just an outcome of what I possess as a skill. So there is a, when I talk to startups, I give them this 3-question thing, which they should be asking themselves in order to make a business plan. And it's very important that you're doing something that you really enjoy. If you don't do that, then you tend to quit, because things will become, and they do become, difficult over a period of time. Just a moment, let me set this up. I'm trying to record this. So
yeah, sure.
Use it for. Okay. So these 3 questions I tell everyone so that they can use that as a formula to come up with the business idea. The first question is extremely important, which I always ask myself, is that what I'm curious about. I'm not using the word passion here. Passion keeps on changing, and passion is largely decided by the environment you are in, right? So if trends change, your passions change. You get inspired by and influenced by different people. Curiosity is driven by talent. This is God gifted, and you have it by birth. There are things that you're genuinely curious. So what I'm curious about, and the curiosity also keeps on changing, but is driven from internally. So I ask myself a question, what I'm curious about. And the second question that I ask myself is what I'm good at. What are the skills that I possess, or the resources that I possess. The third question is I look around and say, okay, in the area of my curiosity, using the skills and resources that I have, what problems can I solve? Which people are willing to pay for, obviously. And that's where my business plan is. Okay. So when I was working as an employee, I was a trainer, and I was a trainer of sales and communication. So the next business was obviously a training consulting company. I'm good at training. I'm curious about how the training at larger corporations work, and can I help certain organizations using my skills and knowledge? And then I approached, and there are some companies who gave me the business. So that was my first business, 𝗓𝗨 Corporation. Then the recent thing, the brand samosa. This is how it happened, precisely. I was asking myself a question, which I ask every 3 years or so, that what are the major trends in the industry and in the world? And I saw social media, digital media is moving really forward. And I was curious to understand it, do something around it. So that's the area of my curiosity, digital, social. Second, what am I good at? I'm good at sales. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at persuasion. So using the communication, sales, marketing skills and resources that I have in the area of social and digital media, what problems can I solve for which people are willing to pay? And that's where the brand Samosa's birth came in, wherein we help businesses in lead generation, marketing, sales, branding, that kind of thing, using digital and social media. Now, of late, I have been asking the same question to myself, and that's where my investments came in. What are the areas that I'm curious about? So robotics is one of the area. Artificial intelligence, metaverse are one of the areas. And what are the skills and resources that I have? Skill is marketing, sales, go to market. And resources, I have fair bit of resource in terms of fund and everything, like people and team and money. So I end up investing in robotics, metaverse, AI, small startups. But my role is limited, of course, to give a little bit of money and to help these companies take the idea to a go-to-market stage, because that's what my skills are always. So that's how my businesses keep on evolving. Why do I keep on changing businesses? That's another question. You might be seeing a lot of thing on these are projects and initiatives. Why don't I stick with one? I'm a very curious soul, and I keep on finding out the things that I'm more passionate about. And the second question I ask myself, what are the larger impacts that I can create? When I was younger, my mind was limited, my resources were limited, and my ability to impact the world with a positive change was limited. As I grow older, I now have more skills, more resources, more wisdom, and using my resources, skills, and wisdom, I can create larger impacts in the world. I can create better positive impacts in the world. And it would be stupid and foolish for me not to attempt those things, right? For example, I have 100 kgs of impact, but I'm only working on 5 kgs because this is something that I started. And I keep on laughing at, and I don't admire the people who are not using their talents. For example, there are brilliant people who get to the institutions like IIT. Now, you have to be very, very hardworking to get to IIT. It's extremely competitive. But you also have to be very, very lucky to get in here. Having the right kind of parents, having the right kind of coaching, having the right kind of timing and everything. Now you're lucky and you're very, very hardworking. You're one of the best brains and very, very lucky person in the entire country. And then you get into the institution like IIT. And then you survive the 4 years. And it's a lot of expenditure that the government does, which is, by the way, is the taxpayers' money. So people like us are funding the education that is happening in the institutions like IIT and everything. Now, you have this extremely good blend of talent and hard work and great opportunity at your hand, and you can literally use that to solve some of the biggest problems of our time today. But then what you decide to do is to build a startup wherein you think that you will be delivering cheaper potatoes to people's house. Because you think that if people don't get their tomatoes in 5 minutes, there will be some big problem in their houses. That to me is a waste of time and talent and energy. I mean, yeah, this is in the trend, everybody's doing it, and you can build an e-commerce startup and you can raise funding and you'll make millions and you'll buy your cars and you'll jazz and throw it around, good. But that is not what humanity is all about. Consumption, having babies, enjoying, sleeping, animals do. All animals do. What makes humans different is that we work for the collective good for the entire human race. That's our intellect is all about. And if you don't use that, if you don't put that into action, especially with having the talents and resources, shame on you. I would say that. I mean, Vedas and all the Upanishads and every scripture in our culture emphasize only one thing, that the most important purpose of human life is to achieve your full potential. That's the quest. That's the entire journey. You should keep on pushing your full potential, and you should keep on realizing your potential, and that's what your life should be all about. The potential that you have is limitless. It's just that you don't want to push yourself, don't want to put yourself in an uncomfortable position and think for the larger good of other people, and you want to be very happy in having drinks and enjoying your life. And that to me is a very, very sad thing to do. I can't accept that. I don't do that. And that is why I keep on moving on to bigger and larger issues and problems that resonate with me and match my capacity to solve them. For example, I'm taking a road trip now. I have taken another road trip in 2018 January. I'm going another 15,000 kilometers, this time across the country, to talk to young people in small villages and towns and inspire them and ask them, encourage them, invite them to become entrepreneurs and leaders of the next generation. Our average age of this country is 28 years. We have 65 crore people less than 35 years of age. We have 35 crore of people in schools and colleges today. And our average age of parliament is 60 plus years. So imagine a situation wherein the fate of an 18-year-old kid in today's world, wherein AI, artificial intelligence, robotics, everything is dominating the work and the life, and it's going to be further dominating in next 10, 15 years. The fate of these people is being written by 60 plus year people who have no goddamn idea how the world is going to operate in the next 20 years. They're not going to be there to see it. They're going to die anyways. So they don't care. They don't care about environment. They don't care about technology advancement. They don't care about equality. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about all of those issues because those issues don't matter to them. And those are the exact issues that are going to matter to you when you walk into the life. You want equal opportunities. You want a technology-driven world. You want a better environment. You want less pollution. You want less global warming because you and your kids are going to live in that world. But what are you doing about it? You're just sitting and acting like an ostrich. You're just like pretending, oh, let's not see it. Or you're just saying, okay, these are the bad people, but you're not doing anything about it. What I'm asking and encouraging young people is to take action because it is about your future. It is about your life. And it is going to be your world. And so you build it the way you want to. Take action, join administrative services, politics, entrepreneurship, wherever you want to be. But just go and take action and raise your voice and say, dude, this is going to be my life. You can't screw this up. This is how you're supposed to do it because it's got my future. You're going to be dead in another 15 years anyways. You know what I mean? So these are the issues that now are more appealing to me, and I'm going and taking actions on it.
Sam, it's been really interesting to hear about your life story, the way you started off your ventures. I mean, these are the things that we face in everyday lives. So we came across a bold statement, a kind of bold statement made by you that the schools are killing the young minds every day and parents are supporting it. So could you elaborate a little bit about it and how it led to the inception of the Progressive Parent
I'd love to
Society?
do that. I've spoken about it many times, and I keep on speaking about it. And here are many. I in fact gave some snapshot in that post itself, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The fact that what is rewarded in real life. What do you need in real life, in the practical world? I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years, and about 8 years, 9 years, I've been an employee. I have been working for 20 years. And everything in the world, every little thing in the world is because of collaborative efforts of people. You have to work together in teams, in corporates, in industries, in governments, in public places. You have to work together in teams. So collaboration is rewarded in the real world.
Yes, sure. You can get.
So we're talking about schools are killing the young generation,
Young minds.
and and parents are supporting it. And the reasons are very simple and very straightforward also. The first and the most important thing is that life rewards collaboration. Every progress that humanity has seen so far, it's a collaboration of collective human species together all across the world. We make phone today, it is built, designed in America, then chips are built in Taiwan, and then silicon is exported from Africa and then imported. And, there's a lot of stuff happening today. In companies also, you have to work together. You have to understand and discuss and collaborate and take help from people. It is impossible for any person to literally know anything on their own. You have to take help from other people. But look at what schools and colleges teach you. They teach you competition. You cannot take help in an exam from your friends. It's called cheating. And you're publicly punished for it. You are shamed for it. You're called a cheater and you're punished and you're investigated from the class. Your parents will be called and you'll be shamed publicly in front of your parents also. So it is so drilled down inside you that collaboration is wrong, collaboration is bad, and you should not take help or help others also. You don't do that. In life, if you don't help other people, you will not go anywhere. If you don't take help from people, you will not go anywhere. And I've been hiring people for 2 decades now. This is precisely what corporates expect you to do. So there's a lot of unlearning that the corporates has to do when people come from institutions. They're individual performers, they're good performers, but the moment they have to move into collaborative environment, work with teams, become managers, become leaders, that's where they completely fail. So that's a big problem that I have with the current school education system. The other problem is this mentality of making people average at every subject. So normally in school, what happens in a parent-teacher meeting, the teacher will say, okay, your son or daughter is good in English and Hindi and this, but now she needs to work on this subject. They want you to be average at everything. Now it is literally impossible. Naturally, it is impossible for any person to be average at everything or good at everything. You're born and just born and built for excelling at 1 or 2 things at max. Those are your natural talents. And talk about the greatest achievers of the world, like greatest I'm talking about, legendary people. Sachin Tendulkar in sports, Einstein, Kalam in science. They were great at one thing, not everything else. You ask Sachin Tendulkar to give a speech, he's terrible at it. Mahatma Gandhi was a great orator, great strategist. Now you ask them to be good at something else, and that's a problem. You can't do that. So rather than identifying a talent in a kid at an early age and then tripling down on that talent and building and polishing and making that talent really, really good, teachers and school education system forces the kid to excel at everything else and focus more on other things. Rather, they will tell you that you should focus less on this because you're already good at this subject. Take some hours from the study of that subject and devote that to another subject which you're bad at. Why would you do that? In corporate also, you're not rewarded for being average, you're rewarded for being excellent at something. If you're a coder, I need you to be excellent coder. If you are a marketer guy, I need you to be excellent marketer. If you are a finance guy, I need you to be excellent in finance. Because then I can hire other people who are excellent in their domains. And this is how the jobs are. But in schools, it is absolutely opposite to that. Now, that's the second problem that I have with school education system. And then the third problem is the fundamental problem, which is, it's not about how the subjects are taught. It is what are the subjects that are taught. The world today is being dominated by artificial intelligence, programming, coding, and technology. No school is teaching that.
Exactly.
Damn idea. Python in BTech engineering courses was introduced about 4 years ago. Python is already dying now. So by the time you guys who learned now Python is going to come to the job work, you're already outdated. What the world is going to do with you, that's why you will not get the jobs. Artificial intelligence is the thing now. And no college, no school is even talking about it. The teachers don't know anything about artificial intelligence. It is not even in the curriculum. The new education policy the government enacted, they don't have enough teachers who can teach that. So they'll take another decade to teach the teachers, and then teachers will teach the students. And by the time those teachers and students come into the workflow force after, like, say, 15, 20 years, it's already gone. That's a big, big miss that we are having. So the subjects that they're teaching are outdated, and we should not be teaching those subjects at all. There are only 2 or 3 things that you do in your life, rather only one thing that you do in your entire life. And I'm talking about financially. I'm not talking about the life values, the mental growth, the spirituality, those realms, being a good human. I'm not even talking about those things. I'm talking about hardcore job, money earning things, livelihood things that education system primarily, the parents are primarily focusing upon. Mostly, you spend your life earning money and then managing money. So you work, you make money, and then you make sure that you spend some bit of it, and you save some bit of it, and you invest some bit of it, so that you live a good life. That's what you do in your entire life, right out of you, get out of the college. So there's only one thing that you do: earn money and manage money. And tell me one damn course in any school or colleges which teaches you how to earn money, specifically earn money. There is none. Tell me one course that tells you how to manage money. And no, accounting is not managing money. Accounting is reporting the spends. Accounting only tells the government how and where the money was spent. It doesn't tell the CEO or the person where to spend, where not to spend. That's a proactive thing, and nobody teaches you that. So earning money and spending money and managing money, nobody's teaching, but that's what you have to do in your life. Then the second thing, you have to deal with humans in your life. Irrespective of what you do, you have to deal with humans. You have to deal with your own emotions in your life. You have to manage your stress, pressure, failure, and everything. So you have to understand how your emotions happen and how you understand and manage. No course does that. There is no course in any curriculum which teaches how to handle your own emotions. Nobody teaches you psychology, human behavior. They're not teaching you neurology. They're not talking about how your brain functions and how your emotions function, how your hormones function. And that is what you have to do in your life. If you are in sales, whatever, I mean, I don't care. You are living in a world filled with humans, and you have to deal with humans. And you have to understand how humans do what they do and why they do what they do. And that is nobody's teaching. Why on earth the education system even exists then? Now coming back to the life values, okay? People sometimes give me an argument, oh, but you know, the purpose of education is to make us better human beings. Good. Tell me the life value courses then. Where are the life value courses? Where is spirituality? Where is dhyan and everything, which basically makes people happy? Where is yoga? That's what people do now to be happy, right? Yes. Controlling stress, going to dhyan. Yoga makes you physically happy and healthy. Yeah. That's what the world does. Where are we teaching our kids that? Nobody. I mean, none of you know how to have a proper dhyan or how to have a pranayama or how to have meditation. Nobody knows because nobody teaches you that. You don't even know when you have mood swings, what is actually happening in your brain, which hormone is actually doing that, which chemical is actually doing that, and how do you control that? You don't know that because nobody has taught you that. Those are the problems that I have with the education system. Now, why is it like that? I also know this. So please understand, it was built by British in the Industrial Revolution. And during the Industrial Revolution, they needed people who could just go and sit and stand on a machine and work for 9 hours and do one repeated things without asking questions. Because that's what made money for the industrialists, right? Human beings have been curious by nature. That's why we become here, and our ancestors, monkeys, are still monkeys, right? There are so many monkeys we see. But we changed because we were curious. We are not bound to follow the rules and regulations like that. So how do you make somebody at the age of 20 go into a factory, stand on a machine, perform a repetitive task, and keep doing that for the 40 years of their life? How do you make them do that without asking questions? Another reason, political class. How do you make citizens follow the rules and regulations without challenging and questioning them? How do you train them? School word is actually derived from its root R. The meaning is to discipline. Okay, school means to discipline people. It's not to educate. Don't confuse yourself. So let's look at the similarities. You have to wake up at a certain time, follow certain procedures, wear a kind of dress, go to a certain place, and then follow 30-40 minutes of tasks. Then there is a recess, half 10, ganti bajegi, and then you go eat your food, half an hour, come back, do another set of activities, and then go back. This is precisely what happens in a factory. People have to go into the factory when the hooter rings. They have to dress a specific dress, and they have to go and perform those tasks. Then there is a lunch, then they have to go and eat their lunch, come back, and that's it. You are basically training the young kids for that life wherein they don't ask questions. And there are bigger problems around it. If there is a question and a curiosity the kid asks, in the mark sheet or in the parent-teacher meeting, you would realize that there are sections of obedience.
Yes.
Right? And teachers tell the parents that your kid is very obedient. What do you mean by obedient? That the kid doesn't ask questions. Because if the kid asks questions, then the kid is 𝗪𝗺 and rude. What is rewarded in real life? Asking right questions, right? What problems can I solve? How can I solve those problems? How can I use my talent best? Why am I doing this? Why am I wasting my time? Is this the worth thing of my time and talent and energy? These are the questions that you should be asking. But the British or the industrialists, the rich class, never wanted leaders. They never wanted people who could question and challenge. They wanted a class which can be ruled forever. So they instigated that schooling system wherein only clerks and employees and workers were raised so that they could rule them. We are free now, but we still don't have anything which makes people think. The purpose of education is to make you think for yourself. That is the purpose. You should be able to think for yourself. If that is not happening, their education is actually derogatory. Then there is peer pressure in the schools and colleges to look good rather than be good. So you put up that mask. You please people. And you cannot improve people by pleasing people. You cannot make progress by conforming to their comfort. If you want to make progress, you have to take people out of their comfort zone. Growth, by definition, is change. And change, by nature, is not comfortable. Our brains and bodies are not designed for change. And those are some of the larger problems that we are dealing with today. And that is why I say that schools are killing young generation every day. They're not designed for entrepreneurship. They're not designed for leadership. They're designed for killing your questioning, your curiosity, and making you follow the rules without asking questions. Why I say parents are supporting it? Parents are sending their kids to the most disciplined, convent-driven schools. And they are not focusing on these fundamental questions. And it is the responsibility of the parents. Kids did not ask the parents to come into the world. It was my decision to bring my kids into the world, and my kid doesn't know anything. He's just a young kid. The brain is not strong enough. And if I took a decision to bring a soul into the world, it was my responsibility to make sure that I grow the kid in a way that it should be. But by not thinking about it, by just handing the tablet to the kid that, okay, just get busy, don't ask me questions, I'm actually spoiling an entire generation. Because then this kid will grow up into a depressed human being. It will be a burden to other people in the family and in relationships. It will be a burden to the society at large. And if I don't teach ethics and moralities and values, then there are a lot of people who become criminals. And then to maintain those criminals, we have to have police. And then we have to have judiciary and courts and lawyers and everything. And then we have to have jails. And all of those expenses are financial burden on tax-paying citizens like me. I have to pay for police salary, I have to pay for courts, I have to pay for jails. So somebody is being irresponsible in producing babies, and I'm the one who's paying for that mistake. And that's absolutely not okay. That's not how modern societies can function. So that's why I pinpoint the responsibility back to the parents. I even go to length at times that there should be an examination, first training and then qualification examination before somebody can become a parent. It is very, very responsible job. You are literally producing criminals. Damn you can't do that in a society, because if you're producing babies and you're not being responsible for their education and they become criminals tomorrow or frauds tomorrow, I have to bear the burden of it. And that's not okay. That's why you should be well educated, trained, and there is a certificate that you have to get. I mean, how many, this is so stupid actually, how many parents actually ever learn about developmental psychology? What is developmental psychology is how the brain develops in the early ages and early years of a child, from 2 to 7 years. Nobody.
I think no. Yes.
No parents, or literally no parents, I'm saying, are aware of how the emotions or the hormones change during a teenage. What are the identity crises or issues that kids go through? What are the physical body hormone changes that kids and young guys go? I'm talking about India, basically. No, they don't. And that's not okay. That's not okay. Anyway, that is my answer, Jaideep. Why I say schools are killing young minds every day and why parents are supporting it.
Yes, it's completely got your point.
Because you know what, parents are lazy. Because if they have to take responsibility of their kids, then they have to engage themselves. So what they would rather do, they would, and the arguments are that I hear, oh, you know what, I have this job and this is very time consuming and I don't get times to get my kids. And then I'm asking them question, but why do you have such a long working hours in the job? Oh, because I have to earn money. It's like, why do you have to earn money? Because I have to pay the fees for my kids. It's like, are you dumb or what? You're outsourcing your parenting responsibility to somebody, and that somebody is charging you money, and to pay for that money you have to work 10 hours, and that's why you're not able to carry your responsibility. This is very, very strange, right?
It's a complete loop.
Complete stupid loop. This is not okay. And then, because they are guilty that I'm not able to give, and I'm not giving enough time and attention to my kids to take care of their guilt or to compensate for their guilt, they spoil the kids with gadgets and extra money and those things. Oh, because I'm not able to give you 3 hours of my personal time, let me give you this 50,000 rupees of phone. And then the kids start building relationships with those devices and those people and those material things. And then the content that is being fed to their brain is being controlled by somebody else. And then this kid gets into that relationship with those devices and that content, becomes a completely different person altogether. And then the same parents come back a few years down the line and accuse the kids of, oh, you become 𝗪𝗔, oh, you don't care about parents anymore, oh, your friends are more important than us to you. And it's like, damn you, this is what you trained me for. It's your doing, not mine. And That's laziness and I think selfishness.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sam, for setting our basics and fundamentals right. I think now we know how do we break out of the shackles of our education system, and how do we look forward, what perspective should we have for our future in terms of our personal life as well as, the corporate or business world. A little birdie told us that you once aspired to join the armed forces. So, how did that transition from a career in armed forces to becoming a serial entrepreneur? And also, you could also elaborate on some of the future ventures that we can have a eye out for.
Before I move on to that, let me give you a framework also. So when people ask that, okay, so school education is all wrong, college education is all wrong, everything is wrong. What is the right thing then? Do you have a solution, or are you just a guy who just points out at things? What should I teach my kids? That's a question people ask. And there are fundamentally only three things that you should be teaching. There are only fundamentally three things that you should be learning. One, most important, you should be understanding human behavior, human mind, and how our mind and bodies work. Once you understand how your own emotions and body and mind works, how hormones play a psychology, there is enough science available now. It is not some alien science anymore. It is very much science. You can simply go on Google, read about it. Once you understand your own emotions and behaviors and motivations and everything, you will be able to empathize with other people also. And once you understand and empathize people, you will be able to adjust better. You will be able to slow down when the other person needs you to be. You will be able to be a little more towards them and back off when you need to be. Relationships will be better in your personal, professional, everywhere. And those transactions among humans will be smoother, faster, and more efficient. And that definitely is progress. You'll be healthy, happy, and you'll be more successful and more efficient in personal, professional. So that's one thing that people need to understand. The second, they need to understand finance and money management. You need to understand microeconomics, not the macro, microeconomics. What are the principles of microeconomics? The incentive, agent principle situations, the game theory. Those are the things that basically drive humans on the finance. The assets liability understanding, the interest rates, how do you make money and how do you earn money and how do you manage your money. So that's financial management is the second thing. And third thing that I ask people to have a mindset, and that should be to be a perpetual learner. What I mean by that is that you need to have a research-oriented mindset. You hear something, you read something, don't believe it. Go do your own research. Ask certain questions, gather information from many sources, and then make a decision. That is to have a mind of your own. You're living in a world wherein you're bombarded with information. Most of that is a propaganda and false information. And if you make your judgments very quickly based on that information, you are becoming a puppet in the entire game. And that is not okay. That is absolutely not okay for you and your future generations. So you have to be able to think for your own, make your own decision. And how do you do that? By taking yourself a little back, researching more, gathering more data, more information, and then making a conclusion. So these are the three things: human psychology, human behavior, financial management, and how to be a self-learner. If you teach these three things to any young person, they will sail through very, very nicely. They'll be able to generate resources, build teams, collaborate, and with that, they'll be able to build companies and teams and make money. If they know how to earn and manage money, they will be able to do financially well. And when they have finance, they'll be living a happy, healthy life. They'll be able to hire people to do the things that they don't want to do, right? This is the second thing. And the third, of course, this world is changing. Today, something is relevant. 3 years down the line, it will not be relevant. There is nothing that you can learn today which is going to guarantee you a 40-year career. It was true 50 years back. It is no longer true. You have to reinvent yourself. And I don't care who you are. You have to reinvent yourself, learn new things every 3 years. Even in technology, even in human behavior, even in science, politics, even in marketing. If you do not, by fundamental design, are a kind of person who is a perpetual learner, you will be outdated in flat 3 to 5 years. It's 9:30. Irrespective where you come from IITs or you come from IIMs, it doesn't matter at all. Therefore, I say it is very important in today's world for everyone to be a perpetual learner. Keep inventing, keep learning new things so that you stay relevant in the world. So you stay updated in the world, and the combination of these three things will actually be a solid foundation for any education in the world. Okay, that's the part one question. Now, the question that you asked right now was about
So your journey for armed forces and how it transitioned into you becoming an entrepreneur.
from armed forces to this part. It's just like any young kid, you're influenced by what is happening around you at that time. So I watched a series at that time on DD National, Seahawks. It was about Indian Navy, and there was a character in it played by 𝗪𝗵𝘁'𝗀𝘀, right? The guy, very famous nowadays.
Yes, yes.
Brilliant at that time, and he looked very, very good in Navy dress, like this. It was very sexy. We had these ships, and there was aircraft taking off from it. It was very cool, so I wanted to be that. And then I wanted to be an engineer for some time. I wanted to join IIT. I actually filled an IIT G form in 2000, but the institution did not send me a hall ticket. It was late by 2 days, so I could not appear for the exam, and it was there in my heart for 19 years. When I was invited to address the first year orientation batch in 2019, I spoke about that okay, it took me 19 years, and I was very unhappy that why God did not allow me to go to the IIT, but God had a plan that He wanted to sit on the student bench. Just have some patience, I'll make you stand on the professor's bench, and you will be able to tell the story to the people. And that would be a very legendary story. It was all passions, like keep on changing. I was good at academics, and people will come and tell me that, okay, you're good, you should be a doctor, you should be an engineer, you should be armed forces, you should do NDA and everything. That keeps on changing. But then I had a family situation in my house. My father was not well. I was the eldest one in the family. I had to take care of the family. And I had to start a job very, very early. I was still in 12th at that moment. And when you are not even 12th pass and you want to have a job, you come from a village, the only job that you can get is a call center job in domestic call centers. So I got a job, and then things started changing. I could not continue the studies, and I had to completely feed my family. I never went to a regular college to get a degree. So all my education has happened through correspondence. I've completed a BCA, dropped a couple of courses of BBA, MCA, BCA, BSc, and then yeah, that's how the journey is. But when I moved in that journey of call center and communication and speaking to people, I started enjoying. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I now realize that I should have always been in communication. I loved it. I look back at my 8th, 10th, 12th standard mark sheets, and the highest I always scored was in Hindi, English, Sanskrit, all languages, all languages. In math, I barely scored anything. I was bad at it. But pitfalls of school education systems. Somebody should have looked at my mark sheet at that time and suggested me to go into arts. But because I was topper, I was thrust into science, and that kind of created a lot of problems. I love science, but I don't love science to appear in an exam. Right? I am a scientific brain. I love maths, but I don't love maths, the integration and differentiation that you guys do. I just completely so that's a kind of journey. But when I moved into sales and marketing and communication, I realized after 9 years rather, that I never got good promotions, and my salary hikes were not happening as per my colleagues. And I was never the favorite of my bosses, like never. And about a decade or so in job, I look back and say, dude, you're not getting promoted very frequently. You're not getting salary hikes, and your bosses don't like you. Yet, you are always one of the top 2 performers in your team. number-wise, statistically, my KRs and KPIs. So if I'm a top
Yeah.
performer and still I'm not getting a promotion and my bosses don't like me, there is something else. And then I try to find out, and my find out was that I was extremely rude with my bosses. I asked too many questions, I challenged too many things, and I wanted to do things in my own way. And then something also happened parallelly. There were senior people who were fired in 2010, and they had a very bad life. They were in the 40s, and I was in the late 20s, and I realized I don't want to be in my 40s and somebody else sitting in a corporate boardroom taking a decision about my life. I don't want to be fired from my job and looking for a job at the age of 43 when I have 50 lakh rupees of EMIs going on. And right now I'm young enough to take that chance. I'm not good for corporate anyways. My bosses anyways don't like it. Might as well go solo, do something on your own. If I fail, I can always come back to corporate. I can have a job. But if I succeed in this, it will be a worth journey. So that's where I quit my job, started something. First 6, 7 months were really, really bad, very tough. I wanted to go back many, many times because I had a family to feed at that time also. But then things changed. I got this one good client, and we started building sales operations, and we made a lot of money. This is the journey now onwards. Now, if somebody asks me what is the thing that I like about entrepreneurship, the topmost thing for me is freedom. To be able to do things that I want to do, to be able to take credit of things that I have turned good, and to be able to stand up and say, I fuck up, but it's my fuck up, right? It's my money, my business, my time. So what? I made a mistake. I made a mistake on my own terms. So that's freedom. Second is the ability to be able to create impact if I want to. I mean, I feel the power in my hands, and I can literally create businesses which will change millions and millions of people's of life. I can solve problems if I want to. And yeah, money also. If you consider net, entrepreneurship does make good money to you. Mostly because of tax things, right? As an employee, you're first deducted tax, then you're paid. As a business owner, you're first paid, you pay yourself and every expenses, and then whatever is left, you pay the government taxes. So that's perfectly legal. It allows you a lot of freedom to play whatever way you want to do. These are the three reasons that I love entrepreneurship at the moment too much. Now my businesses are almost settled. My teams are taking care of it. I'm moving more into social impact, leadership initiatives, as I talked about. I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. I want young people to take entrepreneurship, solve problems, take the freedom. But I also want them to think leadership. And the difference in my mind is that entrepreneurship is rolling up your sleeves and solving a problem, finding how to solve a problem. Leadership is all about deciding what problems to solve. That's a larger question, right? Should you be building an e-commerce startup to deliver cheaper potatoes to people? Or should you be building a startup which does something about climate change or something more sustainable energy future? That is a leadership question. And I want people to adopt a leadership mindset because that's a very, very ignored skill in our system or in our society. And these are the two things that I want to work, and that's why I'm taking this road trip, walking towards hundreds of colleges across the country, giving speeches, doing events, engaging in people in activities. That's a very long answer to your question.
That's a really wonderful answer, actually. So, Sam, your story, your insights, and your vision have left us absolutely inspired. And we are certain our listeners today have garnered immense value from this conversation.
And Sam, thank you for joining us today, and has more power to you, your ventures, and your inspiring journey.
Thank you very much for having me here. It's always a pleasure to talk to young people. And I always mention whenever I go to a college or institution that I come here with great humility. I leave my arrogance and narcissist and attitude at the door because I know that I'm talking to the future prime ministers of this country. Some of you will grow to be a very, very strong political leader, maybe, and take the direction, or maybe heading institutions of importance. You will be heading corporations of importance. And I know you are in the making. And if something, I can give you a little nudge right now, at this time, to move in the right direction, to feel better and stronger about yourself, to understand that you have a larger potential, that you have a larger responsibility for the very same fact, I think I would be able to do my job well of being in the position that I am today. So I wish you all the very best. You guys are fortunate. You guys are hardworking, and of course you are talented. But as they say, with bigger talent and power comes bigger responsibility. That also is very important. Please do not forget that you are supposed to act on the behalf of hundreds of millions of other kids who are not as fortunate as you are. And it is your responsibility to not only build a better and sustainable future for yourself and fight for it, rather, because you can, you have the resources and the talent and the means to do that. But you also need to do that for them, on their behalf, on their sake. And that is the wish that I give to all of you. Yeah, go ahead, do good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sam,
Thank
we
you.
are absolutely honored to have interacted with you today, and we hope that you'll have a continued collaboration with us, IIT Delhi, DMS IIT Delhi, and we continue to keep learning and collaborating with you in the future as well.
Absolutely. Let's do a couple of events together.
Yeah. And to our listeners, stay tuned for more stories, more insights, more inspiration on What's Your Story. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep hustling.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank
Okay.
you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.